Before we begin, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because what you're about to hear is not a recycled debate. It's a rare confession. What if I told you that one man made Luka Modrić lose his sense of time while another made him fear every single mistake? Not fans, not journalists, a Ballon d'Or winner. A man who faced Messi and Ronaldo at their absolute peak. Modrić finally broke his silence, and his words don't crown a winner. They expose a terrifying truth about greatness. So ask yourself this: what is more dangerous, losing control or being punished for a single error? Luka Modrić is not a man who speaks lightly. For more than a decade, he stood in the middle of football's greatest battlefield. El Clasico, Champions League knockouts, Ballon d'Or races, watching two forces bend the sport in opposite directions. On one side, Lionel Messi. On the other, Cristiano Ronaldo. Between them, Modrić, the rhythm keeper. The man whose job was literally to control time, space, and tempo. And that's why his words matter. Messi, at 38 years old, is still rewriting logic. 71 goal contributions in a single season, leading every creative metric, making defenders half his age look late, not slow. Late. Ronaldo, meanwhile, continues to defy decline. 50 to 60 goals per season across leagues, systems, continents. A machine that turns the smallest defensive lapse into punishment. So when Modrić says one made him lose rhythm and the other made him fear mistakes, this isn't poetry, it's testimony. But what moment pushed him to finally say this out loud? And what did he really mean? This confession didn't come after a final, or a defeat, or a headline-grabbing loss. That's what makes it unsettling. It came quietly, after years of battles were already written into history. Modrić was no longer fighting for validation. No Ballon d'Or campaign. No need to protect a legacy. And that's exactly when the truth tends to surface. Asked about the greatest opponents of his career, Modrić didn't hesitate, but he also didn't do what most legends do. He didn't choose sides. He didn't say, the best ever. He didn't give fans what they expected. Instead, he described how it felt. And for a midfielder whose entire career was built on controlling rhythm, that choice of words was chilling. Because when Modrić speaks about rhythm, he's speaking about identity. His gift was anticipation. Reading the game before it happened. Arriving early, always early. But one of them took that power away. Not with speed, not with strength, not even with goals. With timing. And the other? The other didn't confuse him, he threatened him. Because against him, Modrić knew one thing. You were allowed 0 errors. So who was more dangerous, the man who stole your sense of time, or the man who punished every second of hesitation? When Luka Modrić said that Messi makes you lose your rhythm, he wasn't talking about dribbles, he wasn't talking about goals, he wasn't even talking about speed. He was talking about something far more unsettling. Control. Messi doesn't attack you the way most players do. He doesn't rush. He doesn't force the moment. He waits. For a midfielder like Modrić, that is a nightmare. Because the entire defensive system is built on timing. When to step out, when to hold, when to close the angle. And Messi destroys that logic without touching the ball. One extra step forward and he slips behind you. 1 second too late and the passing lane is already open. Not because you were slow, but because you were out of sync. Marcelo once admitted that Messi didn't need to speak. He just looks at you, Marcelo said, and you already know you're in trouble. That's exactly what Modrić was describing. Messi bends the game to his tempo. He slows it down until defenders relax, then accelerates it just enough to break structure. At 38, he's still doing it. Still leading in assists, chances created, goal involvements, still forcing entire teams to defend ideas, not players. So ask yourself this: how do you defend someone who doesn't beat you physically, but mentally rewrites the clock? And if that was Messi's terror, what kind of fear did Ronaldo create? If Messi dismantles you slowly, Cristiano Ronaldo does something very different. He corners you. When Modrić said that Ronaldo makes you fear every mistake, he was describing a pressure that never sleeps. Not tactical confusion, not loss of rhythm. Fear. Because against Ronaldo, the margin for error disappears. One bad clearance, 1 half-second late on a cross, one defender switching off at the back post, and it's over. Ronaldo doesn't need the game to bend toward him. He bends moments. He attacks space like it owes him something. He forces defenders to defend perfectly, not well, not intelligently but perfectly, for 90 minutes. That kind of presence changes behavior. Fullbacks stop overlapping, center backs hesitate to step out. Midfielders drop deeper than planned, not because Ronaldo controls the ball, but because he controls consequences. Statistically, the pattern is brutal. Season after season, 50, 60 goals. Across leagues, systems, coaches, eras. Ronaldo doesn't need rhythm. He thrives on disruption. And for Modrić, that meant something very specific. You could play a flawless match for 89 minutes and lose it in one. So here's the real question. Is fear more destructive when it comes from confusion or when it comes from knowing exactly what will happen if you slip? And if both forms of terror exist in the same era, what does that say about football history? What Luka Modrić revealed wasn't a preference. It was a diagnosis. Football has never had to deal with two different forms of terror at the same time. Messi represents control. He forces the game to orbit around him. Teams don't just defend zones, they defend possibilities. Ronaldo represents consequence. He turns football into a countdown. One mistake, one lapse, one breath too late, and you pay. Historically, greatness usually chose one path. Playmakers controlled matches, finishers decided them. But Messi and Ronaldo blurred that line for more than 15 years. That's why Modric's confession matters now. Modern football is faster, more aggressive, more structured. High pressing, compact blocks, transition, chaos. And yet, Messi, at 38, still slows the game down to his pace, still decides when the match breathes and when it suffocates. Ronaldo, even as systems change around him, still punishes space, still converts pressure into inevitability. So the real question isn't who was better. It's this. Would you rather face a player who dismantles your plan or a player who waits for you to fail? Because Modrić faced both, and football may never see that again. Luka Modrić didn't end the Messi-Ronaldo debate. He did something far more unsettling. He showed us that greatness can terrify in completely different ways. Messi steals your sense of time. Ronaldo steals your right to make mistakes. One controls the game until you forget who you are. The other waits until you pay. So now the question is yours. Which fear is worse? Losing control, or knowing one error ends everything? If this confession changed how you see Messi and Ronaldo, like the video, share it with someone who loves football debates, and subscribe for more stories without filters. And tell me in the comments, who would you rather face, Messi or Ronaldo? And before you click away, remember this, Modrić is not alone. Other legends have hinted at the same truth, some off camera, some years later, some still afraid to say it publicly. Because admitting fear, even against greatness, is not weakness, it's honesty. In the next story, we'll reveal another football icon who quietly admitted something even more shocking about Messi and Ronaldo. A confession that changes how one historic rivalry is remembered. Stay subscribed, because some truths only come out after the battles are over. If you're ready, tell me. Do you want the next video to focus on a defender, a goalkeeper, or a coach? Stories like this don't exist to crown winners. They exist to explain why this era broke football's logic. When legends like Modrić finally speak, they don't talk about trophies. They talk about feelings you never see on highlight reels, hesitation, pressure, loss of control. That's how you know the impact was real. Because numbers impress fans, but fear reshapes players. If you want more stories where football legends break their silence, question the myths, and reveal what it was really like facing Messi and Ronaldo, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because the most powerful truths in football are always whispered last.